everyone. Welcome. It's another edition of Adventures in Careerland. Hey, we're in season number 5. This is episode number 8, and this is part of a giant continuum of 58 podcasts. We're in podcast number 58. It's amazing. Can't believe we've gone this far. And we thank our 8 or 9 viewers and listeners who listen in on this every single time. It's an amazing achievement for us. Hey, we've got a zinger of a show today. I'm Adriano Magnifico. I'm your co-host. I am the career lead at the Riel Arts and Tech Center. This is a great place. 13 applied, technical, and apprenticeship programs for students who think, you know what? I've got to go get an extra dose of schooling. I've got to go find a place where I can get some skills. I've got to go find a place where I can discover where my best self may lie and who values my skill sets outside of the building. So when we're doing this podcast, we are in one of those 13 programs. We're in the podcast studio at the Arts and Technology Center. And it's a broadcast media program, which I think is the gem of the whole collection. A little bias there because they're helping us with the podcast. It is that program from which we deliver this podcast. So, hey, super, super excited to do this. And in this space, I'm not in the broadcast media program. I've had a knee replacement surgery. So I'm in the yellow room at home. How exciting. And in the yellow room, I connect with the podcast media group. And we're connecting with 2 of our co-hosts who are really, really able and intelligent and who help keep this whole thing going. CJ Campbell, they, them, CJ. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I had my usual coffee this morning, so feeling pretty good.
CJ, so nice to have you. And of course, we have a substitute co-host because Andre is just not feeling well, and we want to get him back soon. But we have our good friend Zachary Bowser. Zachary, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. At this point, you may as well call me Andre.
Not yet. You know, Andre will be back. I have every faith that he will be back.
Oh, for
and
sure.
Hey, but you know what? You're feeling inably, and you're doing a great job. So we're happy to have you. Hey, I'm interested. I'm at home convalescing with this knee. I'm trying to straighten my knee, and it's beginning to feel better and better every day. The miracle of the medical profession that they have totally reconstructed my knee. It's a total replacement. So it's pretty cool, but it's very painful. And now I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But one of the things I get to do when I convalesce at home is watch the World Cup of Soccer.
Let's go.
I love it. I love watching this. So I want to know what you 2 think about soccer and the World Cup of Soccer. My 2 Gen Zers.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, I think you're best to start with this one.
So I mean, I'm a huge soccer fan. I was introduced, or I at least really got into it in about 2018, which is the last World Cup that happened in Russia, and of course France took the cup home with them. I feel like for me, there's 2 teams I cheer for. It's Canada and then it's France. I don't have any ties to France particularly. But you know, just the youth that they have in so many players up top, defending, midfield, just everywhere. They're so fun to watch as well. They're fast, but no, soccer is a great sport, but it does take a relatively distinguished palate.
What a way to describe it.
It's worldwide, right? It's worldwide. When we had Canada in the World Cup, everybody started rejoicing. We hadn't been there since '86. I remember the '86 with people like Bob Leonarduzzi. You don't know what I'm talking about, but these were some of our World Cup players back in the day. And to have them back in the World Cup, and it's killing me because Italy's not in there. The Euro Cup champ of Italy. Oh, Madonna! I can't believe they're not in there. It drives me crazy. It's almost like I can't watch it, but I love watching it so much. I went to see CJ. Before I get to that, CJ, what do you think of World Cup? Do you care? This is the world's biggest tournament anywhere for anything. What do you think?
Well, I'm not a soccer fan at all. I enjoy football and I enjoy hockey and I enjoy a lot of the other sports, but soccer is just one that does not sit with me because it doesn't seem that entertaining in my opinion. It's people who run back and forth and chase a ball and then they fake injuries. So it's not my cup of tea.
Faking injuries is an Italian art form. I don't know what you're talking about. That's a beautiful thing. I played some soccer in my day. A good fake of an injury, uh, was something to kind of revere, something to look at and go, wow, he went down perfectly, and he's not hurt at all. Brilliant.
A special
Brilliant.
skill set is faking injuries.
It takes a special skill set. That's soccer. But I'm telling you, there's no sport in the world that brings think about it, every nation together. As much as you say they're chasing a ball around, well, they're chasing a puck around too, or they're chasing a pigskin around too. Soccer for me is the quintessential game. Even though, and well, I went to watch a World Cup in Europe, and in 1990 actually, when it was in Italy, and so I'll tell you how seriously they take this stuff. I was in a Italy was in a semifinal, and I was in a town called Perugia, going to school there in Italy, and we were in a courtyard watching the giant screen. It was just enormous, and Italy lost on a penalty kick in a semifinal to Argentina. When Italy lost the game, first of all, there were fights in the streets. That goes without saying. Usually it was the English guys. Anyway, then everybody shuttered their doors. It became like no one even lived in the streets. The sadness and the pain of losing that game was so significant. And I was talking to my relatives in Rome on phone. I said, we lost. They shuttered. They literally shuttered their windows. I've never seen anything like it. These people take their soccer so seriously. Where we might watch the Jets and have our whiteout, but we go home, we walk home, we're sad. These people like live this. It's in their heart. And the soccer, I played on a soccer tournament in Italy when I was a young man. And oh my gosh, the sidelines it was a nothing tournament in a small little rural town called Pianovamano with my dad's relatives and such. There were 1,000 people on the sidelines watching this, and they were screaming at me because I was the only. They let me play in the tournament, discovered I was lousy, and then put me in goal, and they were screaming "Americano, Americano!" like they thought it was some great pickup. I think I cost them the game. Anyway, soccer's in the blood. So the way we treat hockey, I don't even think we love our hockey. There's nothing like soccer.
I think the Grey Cup is like probably not as important or big as the World Cup, but the Grey Cup, I know a lot of people were devastated when the Bombers lost it by 1 point.
I still don't want to talk about it.
I know that hurt, but it's not in the same league. It is devastating. But it's just not in the same league. Soccer is the quintessential, the universal sport, and it's because anyone can play it. All you need is a pair of shoes and a ball. And I think that's what makes it really, really accessible to everybody too. So in third world countries, soccer's number one, right? All you need is a ball, and half the time they don't even have shoes. They're just playing. It's amazing. Anyway, hey, enough of that. We've got a podcast to get on with, and this is going to be a zinger of a podcast. And I know I said that in the past, but I think this time I really mean it. Because we've got a guest who is someone I admire a great deal, someone who is an amazing person. I had the great fortune to meet way back in 2017 and 18. She's a Nelson McIntyre Collegiate grad from 2018. And she's gone on to the Faculty of Engineering and done some amazing things. I'm always amazed by what she does and her sense of her sense of assertiveness and energy, but in the most graceful and cool way. So I'd like to introduce you to Katy Hawthorne. Katy, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing very good. Thank you for having me. That was a great introduction.
Well, I sincerely mean it, because every once in a while you come across a student. When I was actually a career facilitator at Nelson Mac, you run across a student with a special skill set. And I think that was you at the time. And I got to know you a bit through the Junior Achievement Program, which is a program I advocate all the time. If I could, I would get every student doing this program, because there's nothing as real as that program. So talk a bit about, I only got to know you in grade 11, but talk about kind of how you joined that JA program. You did it for a couple of years, and then how you ascended into it, and what that did for you.
Sure. So I started the Junior Achievement Program as a high school student for my last 2 years of high school, and basically got involved in it because I didn't know anything about the world of business, and was simply curious about it. So I joined the program, ended up working with a bunch of peers, friends, and fellow students at my high school, and stayed in it until graduation. We ended up as a team coming together. I think we had a large student team, a lot of interest in our small high school. And we ended up doing very well in the competition. We pulled ourselves together, and I think it was really motivating to learn a whole new skill set. We dealt with finances, marketing, human resources, a ton of teamwork, and just definitely real world skills. And learning those skills and then succeeding in that environment, I think, definitely pushed me and gave me a bit of a running start when I entered university. It was exciting.
That's kind of interesting too, because Nelson Mac's a tiny little school. So when you're in Nelson Mac, there is a limited opportunity for options. Is that fair to say?
For sure.
For sure, for sure. So when you see a program like that, you're curious about it and you want to get more into business. You're jumping all over it. But there were other things in school you jumped all over. Because I remember when I came there, we just started bringing things to you people, starting
Right.
programs for you people, and we became the little high school that thought big, and we started doing big projects and big pieces. What other things did you get involved in school, in high school?
Yeah, I think a big one for me was the hovercraft competition team. I ended up pursuing engineering after high school, so that kind of gave me an introduction to what engineering includes. We designed and competed with a hovercraft design and prototype, which was cool. Definitely school sports were a big part of our school community and part of my high school experience, which was awesome. We also offered, we had a leadership committee, student government, yearbook, things like that, that were fun to do as well. I mean, it's good skills.
And
And
you got you got your nose into all those things, didn't you?
I did.
So you're the kind of person who just saw something happening there and you had to get yourself into it. Like
I think that's fair to say.
yeah, well, no, I always thought that about you, but you managed it all. You're also the valedictorian for your class. You won the governor general in grade 12 for your class. So why did you pursue so many things, and what effect did that have on you?
Uh, yeah, good question. I'd say in high school definitely was fueled by curiosity, to learn more about my personal interests, what I enjoy doing, and just to kind of get a broad range of different experiences. And entering university, throughout high school didn't know what I wanted to pursue post high school. So towards the end of, I guess towards the beginning of grade 12, I decided to pursue engineering to learn more about it. It's a very diverse field, and that was intriguing to me.
Well, that's pretty cool. So you got entry level quickly because of your excellent academic standing. You got direct entry into the Price School of Engineering, right? At the U
Yes.
of M. You also won as I recall, a Leader of Manitoba award from the U of M, which is a bit of a significant scholarship, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
So
Leader of Tomorrow
the
Award.
leader of Tomorrow, and through JA, didn't you win some awards there too?
Yes, I did. Other scholarships.
Okay, so you haven't paid for university at all, have you?
Uh, a lot of costs were covered. Yes.
Okay, right on. I like that. You're always so graceful, and I think it's a great thing, and I think it's within students to seek that out. You're a seeker. I always thought that about you. I want to check this out. I want to see what that's about. Where did you do this? You're peeking your head around corners all the time, looking at what's going on here. How can I connect with this? That curiosity piece you have, is that something? Now you went into the School of Engineering. And in that first year of engineering, my son did it. It's just a grind. Like, are they literally trying to weed you out or figure out if you have what it takes to be an engineer, do you think?
I personally think 100% it's a weeding out process to see who's fit to stay in the faculty. Unfortunately, they have a high number of people who apply, and they have less ability to admit people. So yeah, even after that first year, they're definitely looking to weed people out before putting people into departments. So it's difficult for sure.
So
Yeah, that
before we
first year.
go any further
Go ahead.
into this, how did you get into engineering? Like, was it something in your family that you heard about, or did someone refer you to go into engineering? How did you get about that sort of field?
Yeah, good question. Throughout high school, I really had no idea what it was or what it included, so I'd never really considered it as an option. Definitely going to throw this in there with there's a lower percentage of women in engineering. It's a male-dominated field, so for sure that wasn't really like a natural path. I don't have engineers in the family, so yeah, I ended up learning about it during high school. I think the SHAD program that I attended summer of 2017 was definitely important for me getting more of an introduction to what engineering actually looks like when you go to study it and when you end up practicing it. So that was motivating for me for sure. And then learning more about it in my final year of high school before deciding that sounds like a good possibility, something I might want to pursue. So I decided to just go for it.
And we were
That's
talking
awesome.
about
Go
weeding
ahead.
people out. What's something that through that time kept you motivated to keep going through that course?
Yeah, good question. First year was rough for sure. Academically, personally, I feel like it was mentally very taxing. And I had some doubt for sure during that period, but decided to keep going because I had kind of my heart set on the biosystems engineering department, and you can't apply to a specific department until you've completed at least your first year of university. So I really wanted to make it to that point, get into biosystems and see if there was a future that I wanted to explore and pursue within that department specifically.
So biosystems engineering. So that's really connects to who you are, like the biosystems. Because we've interviewed a number of students on this podcast, engineering. They're electrical, they're mechanical, they're doing different things. We never had a biosystems
Cool.
person. So what is
Yeah,
biosystems engineering?
this is a great question. This is a popular question. So basically, it has like the same core courses as mechanical engineering, but you add in biology courses on top of that. So you deal with plants, animals, natural materials, ecosystems, and sustainability is a big part of it. So I decided I might want to pursue engineering, but didn't want anything to do with it unless it involved some biological environmental aspects. So it really drew me to the program specifically. It's one of the smallest departments of engineering at the U of M, and a lot of other schools across Canada don't offer biosystems degrees specifically. Yeah, it's a pretty specialized form of engineering.
So what would you say you do? Because you've kind of explained what courses you take with it and everything, but would you say you're someone who finds like solutions to climate change, or are you someone who just helps companies be more sustainable, or what exactly do you do in that field?
Yeah, there's a couple different parts to it. So those two are great examples actually of what biosystems can include. I'm doing an environmental specialization, so I'm interested in managing and sustaining ecosystems responsibly using natural resources, and also interested from a sustainability perspective of how industry and different manufacturing processes can have less of a negative effect on the environment. So like reducing emissions, increasing efficiency, and things like that.
Well, that really fits into what you've been thinking about all your life, though. Like, you're also a volunteer as a Girl Guide. Well, you were a Girl Guide, right?
I was.
Long time. And did that connect you? Like, you have this sense of the environment. You've always had that. And it's funny, Katie, you and I were funny because I was kind of running JA and you were in JA. And we always had different, you're always this sweet and kind and worried about the world. And I was always worried about how are we going to make the most money doing this project? Do you remember we had those interesting conversations? We have to somehow find a way to do that and work it. And I was always amazed that while you were doing our projects, you had this sensibility about the environment all the time, and you have a small business you have a small propagation business, right? Talk about that.
Sure.
And you
Yeah.
had it in high school. You had it in high school.
Yeah, I started in high school, and just as a side project, side hobby, I run a houseplant business. So I uh, sell houseplants and also propagate them and take care of them. I think it really stems from my interest in plants and biology and spending time outside, and it's just kind of a natural extension for me to fill up some time and pursue that hobby. Yeah, it's not a huge aspect of my financial plan for myself or really my personal goals, but it's for sure a lot of fun. And I also enjoy that it helps me connect with other people.
Yes. Did the Girl Guide program, and then you volunteered with it? Did that help stimulate that aspect of you too? Because aren't Girl
Um,
Guides connected to the environment as well too?
for sure. I've attended a lot of Girl Guide camps, spent a lot of time outside. Yeah, we run spring and fall camps, and then I did volunteer as a Girl Guide leader for a few years after uh, finishing the program as a youth. So yeah, it was always exciting to take kids outside, go hiking, go camping, and yeah, do some environmental exploration.
Would you say your hobbies include like going camping or just going into the woods and go hiking or something since you enjoy nature and plants so much?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say like one of my favorite things to do is to go and spend time outside. Unfortunately, school makes that a little bit difficult sometimes. It's definitely heavy workload, but yeah, camping, hiking, canoeing, spending time outside.
And of course, while you were in high school, I think you may have been aware of the program. I'm not sure if we introduced it to you, but the Duke of Edinburgh program. I don't know if my co-hosts understand what the Duke of Edinburgh program is. Do you? You can go
No.
like
Not
this, or
No,
necessarily, no.
I've never
no
heard of
idea.
it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, this is a very cool program from the Duke of Edinburgh, a very British program that allows students to collect this very special distinction if they can assert themselves in very powerful ways that connect to the environment. And it requires them all to partake of outdoor activities which strengthen their character. Did I kind of nail that, or do I sound Scottish? I'm not sure.
How you're explaining it, it sounds like they take a bunch of kids and bring them camping and then teach them how to like set up tents and everything.
Well, there's a bit of that for the first one. But Katy, talk about the Duke of Edinburgh program, because you're the only person at Nelson Mac, I think, to get this in my history. I go back to the 40s. No, I'm kidding. I go back to the 20s, actually. I don't remember anyone from Nelson Mac getting this award, because it's a massive award in which British royalty comes and presents you with different levels. There's a bronze medal you get in your own little distinctive with the Governor General or something. Then there's a silver medal, and then there's the gold medal where the actual royalty comes down and presents you with this special distinction. So talk about that award, why you went for it. As usual, Katie's looking around the corner going, Duke of Edinburgh Award. Wonder what this is all about. I think I'll try it. Talk about that award and
Right.
and what it is.
Okay, I feel like yeah, that's pretty fair. As to how I got into it, I actually heard about it first through one of my Girl Guide leaders. Had told me about it. I think you have to be, I believe, 15 to begin the program. So I was a year early. So I thought about it for a year before starting it and decided to go for it. Basically, it's set up as an award where it's a large time commitment, but there are different categories where, as a youth, as a young person, you are pursuing a skill, you're pursuing physical activity, you're pursuing volunteering or service, and then there's an outdoor, they call it an adventurous journey component. So it sounded like, for me personally, things that I was already pursuing or interested in, and I was kind of able to fit this award into extracurriculars, activities that I was doing with a few added hours. Yeah, picked up a volunteer position, and yeah, completed this adventurous journey, which is basically where you plan and execute an outdoor camping or trip where the idea is that you are traveling by your own power. So you can go canoeing, you can go biking, you can go backcountry camping, and you're spending some time outside and connecting with the environment.
Well, that last one is a pretty long trip, though, isn't it? Aren't you out there for like 5 or 10 days or something?
Yeah, I believe at the gold level it's a 5-day trip.
Yeah, that's kind of amazing. And the fact that you chose to do all that. And what I like about the Duke of Edinburgh program is it really just takes all the things you're doing. Like when you said, I was doing a lot of these things already, it takes a lot of the things you're doing and offers you the chance to go get more things to build your skill sets. It really is about the character. Like, would you feel like that award helped to build your character? And in what way did it do that? If it
For
did.
sure. I'd say for me, it was definitely good for personal organization to kind of balance out the different things that I was pursuing and considering, to kind of categorize what I was doing and how I was spending my time. And definitely the time commitment, you work on it on all of these different categories for a specific amount of time. So I think that just that dedication is for sure important for character building. And at the end, it's a nice sense of accomplishment because you've done something. It's very quantifiable. And yeah, it's really nice to have that distinction at the end as well.
And so all the pieces you're doing at Nelson Mac, like the Junior Achievement, Shad Valley, um, the hovercraft, they all contribute to the Duke, right?
Yes, potentially. I mean, if you can fit it into a category, then you can count it towards your hours for this award.
And that's pretty cool. Hey, tell us a bit what Shad Valley was. Do you guys know what Shad Valley is, my co-host?
Nope.
No.
Shad Valley is a very cool program. If you can get your nose into Shad Valley, it may shape your, in fact, when you said it shaped your engineering sensibility, talk about that program. First of all, you got to be selected for it. So Nelson Mack selected her to be someone who could go. And then once you're down there, where do you go? What were you doing? And what was your stream? Shad Valley's got a number of streams, right? Where you can pick the stream you want to go into. What did you choose? And what influence did that have on you towards being the engineer? What kind of projects did you do there?
Yeah, okay. So the SHAD program, it's basically a month-long intensive science camp that is run across different universities in Canada, and it's for high school students. So they take people after grade 11, typically in that like 16, 17-year-old range, and they send you, if you're accepted into the program, they send you for a month to go and live at a university across Canada. You're staying in residence, and so it's STEAM-based, which stands for science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. So it's definitely kind of that science-based programming, also with a focus on creativity, entrepreneurship. I ended up working on a team with a project. We designed a hydroelectric turbine. There is a different topic of design projects every year, and so ours was something along the lines of improving, like reducing emissions, improving the ecological footprints of people across Canada.
So,
Well,
sorry,
geez,
you built.
here you are. I'm just here you are. I mean, what am I doing in grade 11? I'm stealing crab apples. You're designing a hydroelectric turbine. That's
Right.
the
I'll
difference.
also like preface this by saying I didn't know at this point anything about engineering. I had no background in this other than grade 11 science courses and things like that. So it's definitely it's a challenge for students, and the expectations aren't that you're working at that university educated level, because that would be unrealistic. But yeah,
Pretty cool.
it's a design challenge, and it's an entrepreneurial project.
Right.
Cool.
So, I mean, hydroelectric turbine. What goes into making that? Not only the steps, but like just materials in general. Like what in the world? Like just what was the whole process?
Yeah, okay, so for our design project, it was definitely concept based. I mean, we didn't finish up with a prototype that we could bring to market and try and sell, because we weren't quite at that level, but we had the idea of designing a hydroelectric turbine that you could fit into a water pipe and basically harness some of that energy from the moving water, turn the turbine, and then generate energy, kinetic energy to electric energy using the hydroelectric turbine that would otherwise be wasted. So basically increasing that electrical efficiency. The design and materials, the hydroelectric turbine was designed to be smaller scale for water pipes, residential pipes, industrial pipes, things like that. And yeah, probably if you brought an engineer onto a team with that type of design problem, then it is feasible, but we also didn't have a final solution at the end of our project, unfortunately.
That's pretty cool, though. Who in high school is working on a hydro turbine?
Not
Oh my
me.
gosh. Not me.
Not me.
Not me.
Makes
CJ, are
it-
you working on one of those?
Oh
Come
yeah,
on.
definitely. Right in my backyard. I should actually leave and maybe go work on it. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Get back on the project. I like that. I like that. So I hope my co-hosts are getting the impression. I hope our listeners are getting the impression. You're a person who just goes and tries things. Uh, Sometimes you're selected for things, but it's really because of your drive, your work ethic, your interest in achieving and getting the most out of something. Is that fair? Like you're always looking to get the best out of something. And what can I discover about myself? What were in all these experiences we've talked about? And there's more. I could go over many more, and you know I could because I was with you at Nelson Mac. What are the key pieces now when you think about all the stuff I've done? What are the key decisions you made that have really had the biggest influence on you among all those? And that's a lot of choice. You choose from a lot of pieces, but if you had to think about this was the key one that helped me move forward into into the right space to help me find my best fit, what do you think it would be?
Right. I'd say that for me personally, attending SHAD during high school was critical to kind of open up my mind and consider different possibilities. That's what initially got me thinking about engineering. Um, but for sure, personally, I think my ability to accept a challenge or to say yes to an opportunity, even if I'm unsure of what it will actually include, I think that that's something that I really value about myself, and that I would encourage that even if you're unsure about something you're considering, you're not sure, you don't know how it's going to work out, I would definitely recommend taking the opportunity, saying yes, and discovering either it's going to be a good fit, it's not going to be a good fit, it's not going to work out, maybe it's going to be very successful. I think that uh, yeah, you can't know the outcome before you give it a try.
Would you say you had any big mentors that led you into this field? I know I kind of asked this question before, but to be more specific, like someone who said, you know what, I think you would really enjoy going into the engineering field.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think that going to a small high school, I had the advantage, going to Nelson McIntyre Collegiate, of getting to know my teachers on more of a personal level. They really knew me as a student. And I think that going through these programs with Mr. Magnifico, with Mr. Sabrin, I remember one day talking to Mr. Sabrin, and he asked me if I'd consider pursuing engineering. And I hadn't really in the past, so I decided to do a little bit of research, looked into it. And I think that that was critical, kind of that question, and then like asking me more questions about what I was interested in doing, definitely helped me to consider that path as a viable option. And then I ended up applying, and when I was accepted, then that was kind of that's when I decided to give it a try, to honestly try it out, put myself through first year, and yeah, make it to the biosystems department.
Boy, that's interesting. Like Sab's tapped you on the shoulder. That's what I've written an article about that for a magazine about the important things in school are to find those mentors. And sometimes we had a unique little group there at Nelson Mac because the typical teacher doesn't go into their course and say, here's where it will lead. You know what I'm saying? It's more about completing the content and making sure you graduate. Where I think Sabs and I were working in that, it was something called the Imagine program that said, let's imagine possibilities and see where they can go and see where you have potential to see your fit. I love when you said, just do it. Don't worry about if it's going to be the right thing. Because we tried to foster that feeling through that Imagine program to say, just go into that frying pan. We're here to support you. Nothing's going to be awful. And if it doesn't work out, we just move on to the next thing. And that was that. Did that program help to build that sense of, let's just go do stuff and not worry about what exactly the outcome is? Let's just see what sticks.
Yes, I'd say definitely. I think the high school level is also a really good time to take those different opportunities. I mean, your risk factors are pretty low. And even moving into university, I mean, so many people go in and change their minds and explore different things. And yeah, kind of when you're working through school, I think that that's an awesome time to be looking at different opportunities and trying new things.
For people,
So if you, oh,
sorry.
go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So for people coming out of high school who still don't necessarily have a grasp of exactly what they want to do, is there anything that you'd suggest trying to do to help find a general direction?
Yeah, I feel like that's such an important question. I'd say definitely aim to pursue something that you're interested in and that you enjoy doing. if you are pursuing schooling or work or experience where you aren't having fun, you're not having a good time, you don't like any parts of it, then it's probably not worth your time. Maybe it's not a good fit, maybe it's not the right time. So yeah, if you can find something to spend your time doing that you honestly enjoy, doesn't have to be every part of it. I mean, there's lots of parts of engineering that I'm not personally a big fan of, but yeah, if it's interesting, if it's fun, and yeah, if you think you're passionate about it, I'd say go for it, try it out.
And I love what you said. That first year of engineering had doubts, right? It's totally okay to have those doubts. And I think you'll never have it all figured out. Even like you're looking at an old sage like me. I don't have it all figured out. I don't think I will till, you're all at that bed saying, Magnifico, what's the secret of life? And I'm going to be saying, oh, I don't know. Anyway, it's just giving it a shot. I love that you, one other thing you did, of course, another of your experiences was, and I saw it on Instagram, I was following you on Instagram in the best way, okay? Your great pictures of all the landscapes, because you took an international kind of exchange program with the U of M, you were able to do an internship in Germany. Talk about that and what influence that space had on you, being down there in a world far, far away.
Right. Yeah, I think personally, professionally, it was a huge influence. I applied to the U of M exchange program on a whim, definitely, for an electrical engineering position. They were looking for students to send to Germany to work at a partner university and do a research project for the summer. So as a non-electrical engineering student, I was somewhat unqualified, definitely unsure of the whole experience, but I decided to apply. Ended up getting accepted and went for it. So I'd say definitely being an international student working in a foreign country was for sure like the best learning experience of my life so far.
Why? Why was that so?
Yeah, I think working with different people, I was working in English, but being surrounded by people speaking a language that I do not speak, do not understand. Yeah, being in a different environment was just a great place to learn. The whole electrical engineering fit was not great for me because that's not my background, that's not my education, but it was fascinating to learn about. And there was definitely, I had a lot of help at the university I was working at, which was great, which was necessary for me completing my project. But yeah, receiving that mentorship and gaining those new experiences in a field that's obviously engineering based, but different from what I normally do was awesome. It was fascinating.
That's an amazing thing to say. And unfortunately, we're running out of time on this podcast, but I love all the things you've said. You've said so many great quotes. But I do want to ask at the end, since it's kind of the end of the podcast now, is there anything, like if you have one sentence that you would tell a high school student who is terrified to pick a field that they want to go into, what would you tell them?
Great line.
Ooh. I would say give it a try, and also make sure that you're taking care of yourself. So yeah, make sure that you're meeting your needs and also yeah, trying something new.
That's a great quote.
And just before we get to the quick cues, just Katy, that's exactly that whole Germany piece is exactly who you are. You're looking around a corner and thinking, what's going on here? I'm going to try that. I just love that. If you have that attitude in life, it will just take you to places you can't even imagine. And it took you to Germany. And when I watched your Instagram, you got to check out our Instagram, of all the great pictures of Germany and the landscapes and the environments and the pieces that are connecting to you. You said they're new. You seek new. That's always been your most powerful quality about you. You seek the newness. You seek. The world is not status quo. What I do is what I do. But what is out there is great potential. It's new. It's fresh. And there's so much to learn. I just love that about you. I've always loved that about you. So congratulations on what is a life that's turning into something really spectacular. Really happy for you. And I can't wait to see you becoming the biosystems engineer of Winnipeg. Do you want to stay in Winnipeg?
I'm not sure. Haven't decided yet.
Don't jinx her. Don't jinx her.
That's all good. Turn it over to you guys for quick cues.
All right, so to quickly explain what quick cues is, it's in the name. It's a bunch of quick questions. Don't think about them at all. First thing that comes to mind, say it out. And if you think too hard, we're just going to skip the question. So, okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, first question. Dog or cat?
Dog.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Absolutely.
Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
What do you put on your toast?
Avocado.
Messy or tidy desk?
Tidy.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Pronounce D-A-T-A.
Data.
Starbucks or Tim's?
Tim's.
Favorite social media?
Instagram.
Outdoors or indoors?
Outdoors for sure.
I knew that one. A strawberry or raspberry jam?
Raspberry jam.
Toilet paper over or under?
Over.
Morning or night?
Morning.
Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
And what's your favorite podcast?
Oh, I'm gonna have to say this one. I've never been on a podcast before, so this is very exciting. But this one gets my vote.
That's the right answer.
Me here.
Well, you got the correct answer. Now we'll actually put it online.
Amazing.
Hey, you know what? That was awesome. Great answers. And you've actually, you guys are getting better at this quick cues. It usually drags out. People are asking explanations. We're trying to figure out. No. Well done. The quick cues team is on top of their game. You're really turning this into a good little event. Anyway, Katy, what a pleasure it is to see you. You know,
Awesome.
what a pleasure
Well,
it is.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, just what a pleasure it is to converse and to tell your story. I think people are going to be inspired by your story and inspired by your sense of wonder and curiosity and just going for it and checking it out. Good will come of all the experiences because you have a curiosity and just this innate sense of, why can't I do that? I just love that about you. I've always loved that about you. And it was why we chose you to do, when we're doing Junior Achievement at Hovercraft, we put you in leadership positions because we saw that in you, this sense of, we can figure this out. We can get this team to work. We can assemble all these people. So what a pleasure it has been to converse with you on this day on this podcast, but also to get to know you better and to gather this great podcast so people can hear your story and be inspired by it. I think people need to hear stories like yours to say, I'm worried about things, don't know where to go. And you felt that too, but you just jump into it. And whenever you jump into something with a good heart, something good happens. And you meet new people, you have new experiences, and you gather possibilities for yourself and find that sense of, here's where my best fit lies. And I think you're on that road. You're really on that road. So congratulations. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm just so glad you're part of this podcast. At last, I've been bugging you for a long time, but at last,
it's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming. But you've always said, I want to do it. I'm just busy, and I've always appreciated that because I know the kind of person you are. Other people I'd hound endlessly, but I really understand that's exactly what you're doing. You are busy.
Yeah, for sure.
So, hey everybody, that's another edition of Adventures in Careerland. I'll be back here next week. I'll still be recovering from this knee surgery, but I will be here live from maybe the yellow room. Maybe I'll find a different room. I'm not sure. But you can check us out on all the platforms, the podcast, your favorite podcast platform, and some of our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're on Twitter. And we look forward to connecting with you. So that's it for another edition of Adventures in Careerland. Take care, everybody. Be well.